you are, I mean, I'd ask that question back to you. You've actually made some amazing pivots in your journey, to a lot of success. That Labubu, it makes me feel part of a group or kind of cool or edgy or trendy.
Because I also believe that there is something that we know of that, some people have a spirit of poverty. And it's a thing. All right. Some people have the gift of greenery. They whatever they touch turns to gold.
People are canceling Disney, Hulu, ESPN, ABC products, canceling weddings, vacations. So I'm actually I'm tracking the stock to see what happens tomorrow when I will open the bell.
Good idea.
It's going to be really interesting.
Very good.
Because
2025, is there freedom after the speech? Because we say I have freedom of speech. We speak on it every day. I have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But is there the freedom after the speech in 2025?
Yeah, it's, to me, Charlie Kirk's.
All right, so welcome to the podcast where we bring you a higher perspective on everything business, finance, books, life, future, AI, whatever you call it. Today, I have a special guest in the building. Jabari.
Hey,
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. It took a long time. It took a long time to have you come here, but thank you for finding time in this very busy schedule that you have to come and grace us with your knowledge.
No, my pleasure. It's timing is everything, as they say. It's the season that I think we're all in. Is that we lack it tremendously, and we all have to prioritize on what we spend our time on. And this is something super valuable, is to be able to just sit down with my brother and talk and to grow and have that iron sharpen iron. So
that part.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So it's always a case where we always talk, and so far in this podcast, I haven't invited anyone I haven't really sat down and had conversations with and deep dialogues, to where I regret not having you on camera, and just to show how legitimate and genuine these conversations that we have these all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're sharing today is something that we always have behind closed doors, and it is an honor and a pleasure to finally document what we usually talk about. Most of the times, some of the things I hear you talk and I share with you, I'm looking forward to the day where we share the knowledge with the viewers. But most importantly, I'd like for our kids to be able to tune in and be like, learn from our parents. We're in there too. So they don't have to go too far in podcasts. They can tune into their parents too.
Yeah.
And how's life so far?
Man, God is good, man. Life is a roller coaster. You could talk about the ups, you could talk about the downs, but through it all, that through line is the fact that, I've been blessed, been fortunate. And, one of my handles on social media from the early days was, 365 grateful. But it's something that I, truly believe in the bottom of my heart. I'm just constantly grateful. And by having that be, kind of my North Star focus, it helps me to be able to authentically say that, life is good.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's a childhood memory that makes you smile when you look back and think about how far you've come?
Oh my goodness. We're always talking about our kids, and
yeah, we do.
It's so interesting seeing them kind of grow up through all the stages that we've lived through,
right.
Through childhood. So immediately, we just had a conversation kind of offline.
Yeah, always.
It was about living through, living through our kids, and in certain ways, in healthy ways, and funny ways. But from a childhood memory perspective, the first thing that pops in my mind right now is it's just some times that I had with my father when I was young, because I just recently lost my father a couple years ago.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, no, thank you, I appreciate it. And being really young and spending time with him, developing, growing, trying things. My dad was always an encourager to get past little fears and things like that in life.
Yeah.
So just for example, roller skating rink. We go to the roller skating rink when you're young, and
right.
Sometimes kids want to get off. But my dad is just like, we're staying on that. We're staying on that ring floor the whole time, and it's like you could do it. You got this, you know. And it was almost like, too, I paid for it, so
Right.
you're gonna skate. And from that perspective, it just made me have this follow through mentality.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, with so many things that I attempt, and so now it comes to the point in my life where, I will confidently lean into something and continue to grind it out and figure it out because I know that at the end of it, I can grow, I can be great, I can accomplish something, in that space.
As long as I've known you, there's one thing that's been consistent. You are driven. Um, almost to a point where I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? Like you're so driven. What is it that that makes you wake up in the morning and jump off and like, yes, I'm gonna get this? Like, what is it that drives you?
A wife, 3 kids, and a mortgage? No. Isn't that the truth? No, no, no. I think it's just that internal engine. When it comes to being driven, I don't know any other way to be. It's curiosity.
Okay.
It's a curiosity. It's kind of y- when it comes from a leadership perspective. My hiring mentality.
Mm,
There's three things I always look for. It's
okay.
it's attitude, aptitude, and effort. And that drive is something that it's kind of internal. Sometimes you can't teach it,
Right.
always. And it's something you look for and you can test for, in interviewing. But at the same time, it's like you either have it or you don't. And it's just one of those things. It's hard to put my finger on it, but I think it's just if I had to, I would say it's my curiosity.
Curiosity.
It's like what's on the other side of learning this? What's on this other side of trying that?
Right.
And it just never ends.
That's the best way to get driven. That's kind of like the same thing that drives me. And I've talked about this a lot in the podcast where it's like I'm institutionalized. By that, I don't mean like the prison side of them. It's like I'm institutionalized in the sense that I'll confess something. I wish I could live up to the Noah, that's the Nebuchadnezzar, but
Hmm.
Methuselah age where it's like, golly, can I live up to 1,000 years? Because there is so much more to learn on this planet while we're here.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more. Like there's more, there's days where I've woken up and I'm like, man, I wish I could have been a neurosurgeon,
Mm,
cardiologist, a pilot. I wish like, there's so many things I'm like, but I can't.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, no, you cannot, because you cannot do everything. Otherwise, you'll be caught up in learning everything and then not mastering anything. Because at the end of the day, you have to find that niche and stick with it so that you can perfect it and be a master in it. So speaking of mastery, um, if a person is still wondering, which is a lot of people out there, they're still wondering, like, okay, I know I'm great at this, but I'm stuck in a job. I'm stuck in a 9 to 5 that sucks and I hate it.
Hmm.
Um, what can I do now? And there's no age restriction, right? So, or rather, let me put it at a 30-year-old, right? Um, stuck. Like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to pivot. Um, what would you recommend for that person in this day and age? Clean slate. They're obviously working a 9 to 5 that they hate. Um, went to college, degree that they hate because they just had to do it. And you're pivoting. And I'm the question is so open ended that I'm thinking something that is hot right now that you can say to anyone,
Hmm.
pivot. I mean, there was an age where it's like everyone was just pivoting to real estate, right? And it didn't matter who you were. Doctors were switching over from real estate and they
I
were
was
getting
just
wealthy
talking about
through it.
that with someone a
Yeah.
couple days ago. Yeah.
So at this point in time, what is it? What is that one thing that you in your experience have noticed and observed and you're like, that's the thing that I would recommend to obviously not everybody, but
Yeah.
what would you recommend?
Well, first off, incredible question. And, you are, I mean, I'd ask that question back to you. You've actually made some amazing pivots in your journey, to a lot of success. Um, it's an important question, I think now more than ever, because, like you talked about, even this podcast, one of the topics, could be AI and
Right.
things like that. And in this kind of stage and age that we're in now, in our timeline, right here on Earth, it's something that you should be thinking about,
Mm,
are currently thinking about, or will be thinking about.
okay.
As we know, long gone are the days of working at one place and then that's just what you do. It would be foolish to be thinking like that,
Right,
even
right,
in my timeline and career in tech. Having over 20 plus years in the tech space,
right,
you work at a place for 3 4 years. And if that you get an exit or whatever it is you do, and then you want to move up, you have to go to another company.
right,
It's important to jump.
right, right.
So, making a pivot, I think it's important that you're constantly not giving 100% to your day job, the one that you don't like as well. And what I mean by 100%, I just meaning your soul, your
Right.
all to it. You
All
need
eggs in
to
one basket.
all eggs in one basket. You have to save some of that for your interests, and you have to lean into those interests. So a lot of times people they may get off of work and they just, turn on the TV and then that's it.
That's it.
When the reality
Because
is
you're tired.
there's
You've exhausted
yeah.
all your energy.
Yep.
I see your logic. Very good.
And you start small. Yeah, it's really just, hey, if I have, a gift for technical things and even like setting up, this whole podcast space. This
Right.
is amazing,
Thank
right?
you.
Being able to exercise some of those those gifts in a minor way, having fun.
Yeah.
I think that's what, a lot of things is fun has become it's been something that we now sit in front of versus something we create.
Right.
Right, and I think by being able to have by creating things and having a creator mindset, that's the first start to the pivot, to any pivot. It's
Okay.
self-introspection and continuing to create, whether it's art, whether it's, music, whether it's, it could be, science, it could be writing, it could be whatever it is that you're naturally inclined to, starting to go towards those. And then I would say that as a business coach and business consultant who works with people doing this on a daily
Yeah. Yeah.
basis, it's important to start to, plan. You just gotta
Okay.
plan.
All right.
You have to sit down and, take those ideas, type them out, talk to someone, get them out, and, that's really the first step to making any transition.
Because you're going to choose something that you stick with. Right.
Yep.
And I like the way you brought it up. This brings a topic also on. I may not have the correct chronological order of how things worked out, but you remember back in the day where if you own land, that was your wealth building.
Yeah.
Or rather, if your parents and your forefathers owned the land, then it was in your family.
Yep.
So that's why we had families that were wealthy.
Yeah.
And it was like legitimately families that were wealthy. And then it got to a point in time where those that own land leased the land. Those that own land started farming.
Mm.
So the land produced the wealth until it was broken with a pivot where those that own land needed the technology to start working more efficiently. So
Mm.
that was the invention of the tools that were needed, right? And then it broke the cycle of the wealth building from the land to innovation, to invention. So that opened a curtain to regular folks who are just skilled at coming up with stuff and being creative
Yeah.
to create those tools that they needed to then work the land that they owned. Right. That became that I think was at the era of steel or machines, whichever timeline that was. And then it moved from that to many cycles. And then he got to the Sam Walmarts.
Mhm.
And Walmart is the one that really innovated and pushed the tech because um, he approached all the tech gurus of that time, the IBMs, and he said, "I need some technology that
Mhm.
will enable me to track my inventory and to see when I'm doing, when I'm running losses and to replenish when I needed to, but I needed just the digital side of things as opposed to dealing with humans." So now he pivoted, he switched things, and then IBM took over. Then we moved into the age of technology. Technology has been what we've been stuck on ever since because it moved from that, and you see the Elon Musk and the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs changing things. But all that to say, It drove everything from machines to computers, from computers to tech, from tech. Now we're in an age of knowledge,
Mhm.
which means never, ever a point in time in our lives has there been a time where you can actually monetize your ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. You nailed it. Yeah, it's an important time. I mean, being in a knowledge economy, it's it's hard to realize the opportunities sometimes, I think, for a lot of people just because, your parents it wasn't that way, when your grandparents and your parents were, for those of you that are, maybe, 80s babies, 90s babies and
Nah,
things like that.
to go to an industry or factory and work and still afford a mortgage and
Exactly.
pay their house off.
And pay that house off.
No, I
Work
can't do that.
for
No.
your city, work for your county, work for your state, work for there's all these different ways that they would work, previously.
Uh huh.
And then you fast forward and, kind of to our career time
Right.
of coming up in our timeline.
They pushed college.
Oh,
Can we talk about
oh
that?
my goodness.
We're getting real, right?
Yeah. Well, especially having, when you have, kind of a immigrant family,
Yeah.
as well. Like, I mean, I'm what, second generation American,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we still had that immigrant mentality.
Yes.
Of especially being West Indian,
Mhm.
of achievement, right?
Right.
Everybody had, master's, PhDs,
Right. 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 And
doctorates.
that was the only gateway.
Yeah, that was the gateway. Yeah,
Only way in the only way in the truth in the life.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So that changed to where, in my opinion, I think that's a little bit atrocious because as much as I mean, you got kids, I got kids. My boy's about to go to college very soon, and I hate to even entertain the idea of unless if you're going to be a cardiologist, which is what he wants to be, or an architect, or something hyper college driven.
Mhm,
That is
mhm.
a necessity that you have to have a PhD, a doctorate in this in order to.
Yeah,
Anything else, honestly speaking, I personally would not recommend because, like, again, we're in an age of knowledge to where never ever in life has there been a situation where you can actually learn without being in an institution.
yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of didactals out there, self-taught, self-paced. Um, but obviously, the college qualifies your knowledge. I get it. Um, I would actually prefer to invest in a business rather than going. That's me talking.
Mhm.
We can have a dialogue like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
I'm just thinking out loud, and that's what this podcast is all about. Just thinking out loud. And I'm thinking, and I might change my mind tomorrow. Don't hold me to it.
that's all right. Speak.
But I'm like, I would rather grab that $100,000, if not $250,000, which a lot of people graduate college and are in $250,000 debt. Myself, I've paid it down though. But by the way, but I'd rather take that $250,000 and start a business because it will create that family wealth, a generational wealth, as opposed to going to college and coming out in debt
Yeah,
and then chasing
the rat race.
the rat race.
Yeah,
And it'll take forever to even pay off the school loans before you even start. So it's like they're starting at a negative before they even start building wealth. So go in that direction, they'll never build wealth
yeah,
because it's designed to have them chasing the bag
yeah,
as opposed to beginning to create wealth. So now you got families, you got communities out, like for example, Atlanta. We talked about Atlanta. Atlanta is booming with knowledge and they're sharing that knowledge. There's no gatekeepers out there. They're finding ways
mhm,
to create wealth with or without college. Now, college degrees are a booster because that structured knowledge is still imperative in this day and age.
yeah,
But what is your take on just the gap that now exists between the college route and setting up a business route, obviously with clear plans like you talked about,
yeah, yeah.
a clear solid plan targeting a specific industry as opposed to ushering them, like for example, have your son go and do a degree in arts or painting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think they said that what the number one degree was like psychology, and there were so many psychologists at one point with bachelor's degrees that, and the function of it, you have to go to graduate school, and a lot of people would get that degree and not go to graduate school, so the earning potential was so less compared to the amount of debt that they had, and it's I don't know how we got this way, but we're here.
Yeah.
We could complain about it, or we can talk about it and try to be productive.
Mm.
But no, I love this question because you know it's one of those things where we have access to so much knowledge out there, but it's the humanness in us. Will we take advantage of that knowledge?
Mm.
The internet comes, we can do so many things, and we watch cat
Right.
videos, right? It
Sure.
was,
When somebody's making money off of those cat
somebody's
videos.
making money off those cat videos at this point. So, will with our human behavior, will we actually go out and learn? That's the case. That's where college is so beneficial because we are in a knowledge economy. It's important to be well versed over a large number
Okay.
of subjects.
Okay.
Also, when it comes to college, being able to interact with people is now becoming more important than ever. You have this iPad
Mm.
generation through COVID and stuff.
Collaborate. So
We're
collaboration is a
Yes, learning how to collaborate. We see these young people that can't even look people in the eyes when they're talking to them, and this is gonna be lessons that they're gonna have to learn at some point.
soft skills.
College soft skills. College is a great incubator for
Mhm. Right. Right.
that type of knowledge. So there's a lot of different types of learning that you get in a college environment, but financially,
Mm.
it's painful. It's prohibitive to your success and to building wealth. Just like you said, there's just no way around it.
Okay.
So, I kind of liken it to people talk about, debt, how to get out of debt and things like that. And, it would make sense if you have credit card debt. Thing that makes the most sense is you pay off the highest interest credit card
First.
first. You save the most money. It makes
In the
sense.
long run. Yeah.
But the reality is human behavior doesn't work that way.
No.
The most effective way that we found is a debt snowball, because for some reason, the way most people are wired, everybody's unique and different, but the way most people are wired is they accomplish that one goal. They pay off that $1,500 credit card. Then they pay off that $5,000 credit card. Then they attack that $20,000 credit card with the high interest and all that stuff. And they end up hitting their goals faster, not falling off because of they see it, they can achieve it. And so the way I liken that to the college conversation we're having is, you know, yeah, it makes the most sense. Why spend the money when you can get an MBA through books and everything like that. You can get, but you can't necessarily replace being in that cohort, that
That space.
community,
Okay.
that space, that incubator of ideas, directly, with someone, and that daily push of somebody guiding you through your learning and
Okay.
things like that. And that's where it is. Like, so, human behavior, the death snowball would be like going to college. And then, on the other side of it is if you have that mind where you don't need it, then yeah, pay off the highest interest card or learn without college.
Right.
But you have to make sure that you're learning, and a lot of people wouldn't do that.
So going to the Harvards, I call it the intentional universities,
Yeah.
not just should there be governance then with some of these rinky-dinky universities? No shade on all of them, but some of them are so scammy to where it's like, you have kids going there for 4 or 5, 6 years,
Yeah.
some 8, coming out in debt with something they can never use.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had folks working a job that they never went to school for, and then there are some people that actually rise in the corporate ladder without the qualifications of what they went to school for. So should the government then, tap in? Even though I know it's a slippery slope with the government
Oh,
or with governance, but should they tap in and start regulating some of this stuff? I mean, for the sake of the future.
yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a part for the government to play, but you can't legislate everything. You just can't. Um, it's conversations like this that are going to be critical, for families to be able to have conversations, to sit down and
Yeah.
to really think, because information is out there.
Right. Right.
What we got on with our children
Right.
and say, all right, so do you want to graduate? This is what I can contribute
Right.
to your college, right? I have X amount of money, you know. You have 2 siblings in our family. We have 3 kids, so you have 2 siblings that
Yeah.
are going to need X amount of money,
Right. Right.
right? And so from there, depending on what you're looking to do, this is what we found paths to success, introduce them to people, trying to, give them a day in the life. I mean, there's so much
Mhm.
information that you
Yeah.
can get and that we have access to now. And we have to make smarter decisions, which will cause it's supply and demand,
Yeah.
right? To tell institutions or businesses or organizations that, um, that they should stop doing something. Yeah, that's great and all, but the best way to do that is by not committing to those programs and paying that money, right? Saying it's not smart for me to go in $250,000 debt for a bachelor degree, and that's going to take me 5+ years because I'm not focused,
Mm.
or look at my historical grades. And, for some people, it's worth, working and going to community college
Mhm.
for a while. Everybody doesn't have to have that freshman year
Right,
at
right.
this premium, school,
Mm.
to have this camp experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expensive.
It's an expensive camp experience.
That's true. Now going back into, to business, marketing, what's the consumer behavior that you've observed that is outrageous and or something that people just don't understand?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different angles you could tackle this. And I think you're aware that we have a digital marketing agency,
Yeah.
and so when it comes to working with clients, we work with clients from all types of industries, over the years. But it's one of those things to where trends, all right, majority of the trends are not that we see in the consumer world,
Right.
not like health services or home services.
Uh-huh.
But, in e-commerce, it's a lot of it is just the trends. So, you see that like the Labubus of the world, you know,
The loop.
Labubu is this little creature toy. It looks like a weird gremlin,
Uh-huh.
but it has like a cute little snuggy type outfit and stuff. And
Gotcha.
so people wear them on their persons, on their body, and you see people all ages, but a lot of young people, they wear it, and so they're selling like crazy. We also know Pokemon, blew up again. Had a massive resurgence in the last several years.
Right, right.
The YouTube videos, the cards, the games, the shops are popping up all over the place,
Yeah.
and it's it's amazing. But I think it again back to our humanness. It's all strange, but it all ties into how we feel.
Oh,
And
oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's all about how these things make us feel.
Feel.
So they spark a certain amount of joy.
Right.
And from a marketing world, a lot of times our goal is to equate satisfaction with consumption.
Absolutely.
Now my goal is always for marketers to use that power
Right,
for
right.
good,
Yeah.
not for evil.
Right.
But at the same time, it's still something that has to be used. So people equate satisfaction with the craziest things by consuming it, right?
Right.
So that labubu, it makes me feel part of a group or kind of cool or edgy or trendy,
Mm.
all right? And that's what somebody wants to feel to belong.
Me
Or
too.
with Pokemon, it's a bit of that gambling behavior,
Right, right, right.
right? So I'm open up that pack and I might get a hit, 2 hit, 3 hits. That could be
Changed my life. Yeah.
yeah, it changed my life. So it's I laugh because my son is really into it, and he's good. He knows all this stuff. He's helped me make a little money and just
Really?
some. Oh yeah, it's a
Interesting.
lot of fun. But at the same time, I like it for him in terms of because there's some elements of investing that you have to think
Absolutely.
about
Yes,
there.
yes.
But also, it's like
It's a gamble.
it's gambling.
I see you trying to avoid that. I'm direct. Let's go at it and say it's gambling.
It's gambling, So
Uh,
it's that mixed bag that
rolling the dice. Well, let's say that, rolling the dice. But no, I mean, I hear you. But that's a life that they limit.
yeah.
And then obviously you have the age of TikTok, the TikTokers. It's funny because when I came across a bunch of kids, and there was a time in life where you ask kids, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Mm,
And it was always, "I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a pilot."
yeah.
Now it's like unequivocally, it's like, I want to be a TikToker.
Yeah.
I want to be a YouTuber. And that's a conversation that they have in this Gen Z, all the gens. I can't keep up with them, but all the generation this, and that, generation alphabet, so to speak. Um, and that's their life right now.
Yeah.
That's how they're looking at life. And so it's kind of tough to put that mindset on a child who is being brought up in a microwave world. Everything is in and out faster than ever because again, when we talked about the generational or um, the chronological order of how things move from the land to the industrialization or the industry era, all the way to information.
Mhm.
Now, information is the new currency. If you know something first, you are at an added advantage. But then not knowing it without being able to partner with the right partners, you are at a disservice for yourself. Because if I have knowledge, but I don't have a crowd or an audience, then I'm at a loss. I will die with my ideas.
Yeah.
So I need to partner up with somebody who already has the for lack of better words, a following.
Yeah.
So I could have a following but no ideas. So I need to partner up with somebody who has the ideas,
Yeah.
so as to marry those two, and that's the way wealth is being created. Again, never ever has there been such a time where you can actually be a millionaire overnight. Obviously, there was a wave of social media where people were making millions of dollars overnight because of one video that just went viral. I get that. But then it's slowly moving out of that space now to leveraging and taking advantage of the new segue to the AI.
Mhm. Mhm.
In your space, how are you guys leveraging, um, whether it's marketing, finance, business in this current time? How are you guys leveraging AI?
SEO, historically SEO has been, search engine optimization has been, designed to have like Google, Yahoo, for instance, to crawl a business's website
Well,
and to identify who is the kind of the best option to choose in the higher ranking for their client, who is the person who is actually searching for information.
right.
So now fast forward, we have AI to where people are starting to pivot to AI to
Right.
look for the things they're looking for. The other day, we were looking to celebrate something, and I was working in a language learning model, and I dropped in sushi, right, near me, to identify, some spots that we can hit up. Now, I already knew there was a very new restaurant that had opened. This family from Japan wanted to move into the Inland Empire and build something really special that
Right.
hasn't been seen out here.
That is not in LA.
Is not in LA exactly, and we ended up going. I mean, we did go. It was amazing, but I didn't find it. It didn't come up in my AI search. I just knew about it through other means. So right now, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west to where it's grabbing. It's trying to figure out its algorithm. It's not necessarily monetizing anything like that just yet, but we are, probably a year away from all of this being monetized and rolled out and algorithms. But from an agency perspective, we understand that there's certain meta tags and things like that that we could do to increase the rankings
Mhm.
for AI now.
Right.
So a lot of that information is starting to come up and come out, and so that's what it is. It's really trying to make sure that businesses are found when people are using language learning models like Gemini's and the Barts and the ChatGPTs and all of that. It's super important.
Okay, so uh, the following part in the podcast, I want to dive into your Instagram page. All right,
Ah,
let's have a little fun.
the old Instagram page that has not been updated.
It's all about content. It's all about content. So on your page,
Mhm.
um, you have a post that says, "When people say I have a good job,
Mm.
but no backup plan, no system, no strategy, that's not security. That's just risk dressed up in a routine."
Yeah, yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah, it kind of taps back into the early part of our conversation. Talking about what does pivots look like? There's a lot of people that are currently unhappy. I mean, with the one thing that people don't realize, kind of in the background with AI, it's not like it's just wiping everybody out, but it does put more stress on people that are within jobs because you can work with more of a skeleton crew, as a business, which means there's more pressure on the people that are still there in the vertical that they're working in within the business. And so as that pressure increases, some people are born for it, built for it. It's their ideal job. Others, they were on the fence as it was, but just making a life. But at the same time, now that pressure goes up.
Yeah.
and they're unhappy, and when you have people that are unhappy, they don't obviously, work their best. And so that message was to professionals that are out there currently, in jobs that
Yeah.
know they've been wanting to pivot, know they've been wanting to make a
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
but they continue to go through the motions because of security. And now we're actually in a position in our timeline right here
Yeah.
is in that security is actually having backup plans that you're
Yeah.
starting to build,
Right.
having that side hustle that could potentially become your main hustle,
Right.
right? That's actually where security lies.
Right.
Putting all your eggs in one basket is
It's
a
not.
lack of
It's not.
security
It's,
now.
it's old school.
It's old school. It's changed. So that's kind of what that post was. That's fun.
That's not a gotcha moment, man. It's like it was inspiring. I mean, it's one of those posts that you know you come across and it's like, oh, right. I like how you just put those words together. It's an idea that's out there.
Yeah.
Somebody may know, but they don't know how to put it together, and it's like boom in your face. Um, and that's what it's all about. You need those little texts, that those posts that make you go, huh? That make you think.
Mm-hmm.
That make you get up and change. And we're in the age of that. And sometimes somebody may read that and be blown away,
Mm-hmm.
and then turn around back to YouTube,
Oh yeah.
scrolling up and down. It's like, wow, it just went in, worked, and then it's out. So it's that we live in a microwave
Oh yeah.
era where information is in and out. But so living in this age now where information is like, if you don't get somebody within a few seconds, that hook, you lost them. Is that same behavior recognized in the business world currently right now?
Yeah, I think I call in marketing, I call it the brilliant basics.
Okay.
There's a lot of fundamentals that even though the tech adjusts, things change, there's a lot of stuff that stays the same.
Mhm.
And in the brilliant basics, one of those things is that there is a attention funnel,
Okay.
which would sometimes be called marketing funnel.
Mhm.
Then there's also sales funnel, and each of them are slightly different. But the way that I would explain it today is that no matter what we're doing, it's going to take multiple impressions to get behavior change.
Right.
Right? It's not that one viral moment. Yeah, that may get attention,
Mhm.
but at the same time, doesn't actually breed action.
Okay.
Right? So, at the top of that funnel that you have is going to be that awareness, right? Oh, wow, we're aware that this influencer here, that business is here, that trend is here. Wow, that's interesting.
Right.
Right? And then you moved towards, down more where people are kind of analyzing it a little bit more.
Mm.
Right? And then eventually, you get down to the bottom of the funnel, which is where they take some sort of action, conversion, engagement, higher level of engagement and things like that. So, yeah, to a certain degree, things change, but things don't change, right? You still need multiple impressions before somebody's going to take something, which is why people are always saying now, make your content, get your stuff out there. There's no silver bullet.
Mm.
Like even these people that have gone viral, in the past, you don't make, we actually have a mutual dear friend that I don't know if you know, she doesn't put it out there, but she goes viral like every other week, like to the tune of 5 million
What?
views and things like that. Like it's nothing. And the challenge is how do you monetize that? It's fun,
Right. Right.
having
Right.
that influence, but also, how do you monetize that? And so there's strategies and plans that you can implement for that. But yeah, super,
Gotcha.
super interesting.
Again, one last one from your page.
No, keep going. This
Not a gotcha moment. But you posted, and this is true. You said, whatever you're planning to launch today, then fix it as you go.
Yeah,
Otherwise, there's no chance you'll never launch it. So,
yeah,
what did you mean when you posted that? Or what was your state of mind?
yeah. It's I talk about this all the time as well. So there's two times when it's good to make a decision in business:
Okay.
yesterday and today. What I mean by that is this. People, oh wow, man, what's the best timing to start my business?
Huh.
Well, that would have been yesterday, but
So you're
nothing
late.
you can do about that,
Yeah.
right? You're late. So, but you can do something today,
Right.
right? Tomorrow, your someday has to be Monday at some point, right? So what we do is, again, back to the human behavior. Oftentimes we overanalyze things, we procrastinate, and we miss out on on all the learnings. Like, you're going to suck. You are going to make mistakes. That's ideal. As a business coach, we're looking to capitalize on that, on those losses, turning them to lessons.
Got
All
it.
right. People are so fearful that it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great. Like,
Okay.
I assure you it's not gonna be great, but it will be great if you get started
Mm.
and you get through, cutting your teeth and learning, how to make the adjustments, how to make the mistakes, and how to move on from that. Once you've learned that, then the sky's the limit. And so that's kind of the
That's
thought
where
behind
it
that.
came from. That's so true. Now, believe it or not, my first direction in college was at a marketing school. Now, I didn't
Ah,
complete it,
yeah.
but it was marketing. And funny enough, like the first 2 years of that life that I did, I learned so much that I still use today.
Mm.
Now it could be a case where those principles may be old. So let's put them to the test. I forget what it's called, a sulfic or ASOL or a sulfic matrix, but anyway, it's a matrix
Mhm.
that kind of indicated when you're targeting your audience or your clients. It had four categories.
Mm.
I might put them out of order, but it's been over 20 plus years since then.
That's all right.
But it had four categories, and it was like one where you actually capture the audience, right? That's you advertising and capturing the audience. And then the second one was, now that you have the audience, how do you keep them?
Mhm.
And then when you keep them, whatever strategies you can implement to have them stay, which means you have to curate your business in such a way that you keep them at bay. You don't want to sell candy and they go
Mhm.
buy it somewhere else. You want to have a strategy where your candy is so different, whether it's because it's served on um, a platter. I don't know.
Mm.
Whatever it is that that company does. Like, for example, you look at Starbucks. To me, I feel like Starbucks is not selling coffee. They're selling culture.
Mhm.
In my opinion, I think it's culture. People think or they feel, back again to the feeling that you talked about, which is I prefer the word emotion, right?
Mhm.
They thrive in emotion. How you feel when you go to Starbucks, how you feel when you come out with that coffee, that ice shaken espresso, and you're like, I just ordered ice shaken espresso, um, when you can make it at home. But either way, it brings back the point that you made. It's all about feeling, right? So how you make them feel so they can stay. And then there's the third box, which is the third category, which is how do they return? Like if
Mhm.
you're selling something that they can buy and then and go, how do you have them come back? So returning clients, and I forgot the fourth one. Maybe you can help me. But that principle, that model,
Mhm.
is it still four categories, or is it now 18, or is it 20 now? Is it
No,
38?
we dress a lot of things up, and put different naming conventions around it.
Right now.
It sells books, it sells podcasts,
That part, that's the
it
truth.
sells, courses and all of that. But again, it goes back to the brilliant basics. A lot of that still holds
Oh,
weight
so
today.
true.
It's still
Fundamentals. Okay.
everybody's looking at first, prospecting, or how are they basically, identifying,
Businesses,
who
right.
their target audience is, what they want to make that audience feel, how to make the connection. We know the top blue chip premium businesses,
Right.
in the markets it's all about, again, like you said, Starbucks, the apples, things like that. It's about,
Yeah.
does it make me feel smart? Does it make me feel, is it a status symbol? Right? Things like that.
Louis
So
Vuitton.
yeah, there you go, LVMH. So from that perspective, all of that, is still the same. And then you get to the point of, okay, great, I've attracted this, but
Mhm.
what is the LTV, right? What is the lifetime value, and how do we tap into that? Also, is it scalable?
Mhm.
Right? What elements of the business is scalable? And then, from there, again, getting that repeatable business over, longevity.
Yeah.
So yeah, so many things that, see, we dress them up differently, really have a lot of fundamentals
So
to it. So yeah, still holds weight.
oof.
You're
Okay.
pretty
So
good, man. That was a good call.
we're not far. We're not far off. Shout out to whatever the teacher, instructor, professor back in the day that while I was paying attention. I just migrated. I just moved. I moved a lot. Now shout out to my coworkers, because they do watch the podcast as well. But we've had conversations where they ask genuine questions like, we see you doing this. We see how you move. We see you go places. How do you afford that?
Mm,
And I'm like, I'm not doing anything different. Um, the only difference is priority. I prioritize, I value um, not tangible items, but memories.
mm,
So when we go places, we go to that country, we go overseas with my family. I'm creating that those memories as opposed to buying something. So I said, that's the reason why it looks like I'm living it up is because I've just prioritized that. First of all, I don't drink.
mhm.
If you were to look at somebody who drinks alcohol, um,
It's expensive.
thank you.
Yeah.
If you were to calculate the amount of money they spend per bottle, per day, per minute, some drink every day. And then some actually don't just drink regular alcohol, they drink wine. That adds up, right? So things like that. Some people, I'm guilty of it, even though I'm trying to manage it. Some people spend $20 a day on Starbucks,
Mhm.
like on that coffee. $20 times 365 is a lot of money,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So while you drinking your coffee, I'm not. While you drinking your wine, I'm not. While you going to basketball games or baseball games,
Mm.
like somebody sitting next to me here, but even though you'll explain exactly, you know what I mean. While you're spending so much money every weekend going to those games, that's your priority, right? That's what you're prioritizing, creating memories in those fields, right? With family. Everybody has different memories, like, different priorities. So how would you put it in different terms that somebody can be like, I see what you mean.
Mhm.
Because even in my vocabulary saying it's just what I prioritize, I'm no different than you.
Yeah.
Um, and not even trying to, and I would like to, for you to answer this question in a two-part way, a business side, the first one, right? And then the second one, if you can answer it in a more spiritual way,
Mm.
because I also believe that there is something that we know of that, some people have a spirit of poverty
Mhm.
and it's a thing,
Yeah.
right? Some people have the gift of greenery. They whatever they touch turns to gold. The Josephs of now, right? No matter what they do, they're blessed and they will always find money flowing in no matter how much they spend.
Yeah.
So if you can answer those in that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, man, what are your coworkers doing talking to you about religion, money, and and politics? Those are the 3 things that are supposed to be off limits.
It's like, oh right, in the work environment.
No,
Nah, it's
it's all good.
it's all about, man, it's always dialogue, bro. Like I'm always trying to uplift and share.
Yeah.
I am I'm allergic to gatekeepers, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
if I talk to you 1 second, you gatekeep, I'm out
Yeah. Yeah.
because which is going to be another topic for another time. Where it comes to how you value, if you can note it, maybe you'll answer it after these two
Yeah.
questions. How you value networking or friendships or partners in this realm that we live in. So we'll come to that
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
third
love
question.
that topic.
Third question.
Gatekeeping.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, going back, to from a priority perspective, um, where your focus is where you're gonna grow, right? Where you water is where your grass or your plants.
Currency. That's why the money is currency, right? Where the current goes.
That's right. That's
Gotcha.
right. So it's one of those things that I look at from a priority perspective that in business, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's if you're giving 100% of all you have into, your day job, but you have dreams of starting something else or making a
Mm.
pivot or a transition, and you want to kind of grow in the skill, get this certification on the side so you could do, maybe it doesn't have to be a full turn, 180, but maybe it's just a 90-degree turn or,
Mm.
25 degrees. And you have to have some mind power, energy to put towards that whatever change that you want in your life from a business perspective. And then, I think, again, spiritually,
Mm.
that's obviously something that's deeply personal. So I could speak for myself. It's something to where for I for me, God is in my relationship with God has been just a source of so much strength for myself, so
Okay.
much power. Where I've fallen short, where I've found the will to carry on, the drive that I have internally to be who I am, who I believe God created me to be, is because I've carved out that time.
Hmm.
If I didn't carve out that time, I think it would wane. It would move to the side. And though I'm not perfect, what I do have is consistency in that area of my life.
Okay.
And that's just I mean, I could talk about that, all day, all night.
We want to know what
Yeah,
your side.
it has to be a priority. And tangibly how that actually works is,
Okay.
is literally waking up before I do anything, how, kind of, yeah, getting into, I use personally, I use the Bible app and I use devotionals in there. I'll get into the word and some other books sometimes. I have some time in prayer. And I make sure that that's something that happens on a daily
On a daily basis.
basis. That's my non-negotiable. Where everything else will fail, my prayer time is going to be there.
Right.
It just it keep it that inner conversation that I have kind of throughout the day, even, super important. And before we started this podcast, we're drinking some tea, we're chopping it up and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I just went silent for a minute because I just took a second to say, "Hey, listen, Lord, walk with me,
Yeah.
or allow me to walk. I know you're with me.
Yeah.
Allow me to walk in the light that you want me to walk in." So,
Is there such a thing as the spirit of poverty? I know I'm bringing that back. Like,
bro,
are there
oh,
people out there? I know we're all children of God, but who are cursed, man? No matter how much they make. For example, I did work with a gentleman a while ago. Same pay, same hours. We just could not compute. We just could not quantify, or qualify, or nullify whatever file you want to put in there. Wi-Fi. Well, we just did not know where his money went.
yeah,
Dude did not have a wife. Dude did not have kids. Dude did not have a mortgage. He lived in an apartment. And he got to a point in time his car broke down, but because he lived close to me, I offered to pick him up. I drove him to work for 6 months straight. He didn't offer to chip in on a gas. No, did I even ask? But I was sitting like, wow, dude, like, but my bottom line is that we just don't know where his money was going.
yeah.
But we know he was spending it somehow. I don't know if it was gambling. I don't know.
It's college
I didn't
loans.
I didn't I didn't I didn't
Oh,
I didn't
sorry.
dig into his life, but just using that guy as an example of there are people out there who no matter what they do, money just seems to slip through their fingers. Like no matter how much they make, they will lose it. Kind of likens to an analogy that I learned as a child that you could put 10 people in a building or a room, give them $1 each. By the end of the day, the week, or however duration that experiment is going to be, one person is going to have $10. 9 people are going to have none.
Yeah.
So it's always that monopoly mindset. Um, is there such a thing as a spirit of poverty?
Yeah, I think I think there's a spectrum of
Okay.
it. It's kind of the spirit of wealth making, the spirit
Okay.
of poverty. I think we're all on that spectrum and can be. Um, there's that word that people say, for lack of knowledge, people will perish.
Parents.
And a lot of times it's literally just a lack of knowledge. I mean, going back to
Oh,
what we learn, a knowledge economy, and what we learn in school, we don't learn in school. We don't learn how to manage successful marriages, raise families. We don't learn money. We don't learn
right.
anything in school that's important for us to master
Right.
to live full lives.
True.
From that
The
perspective, so
practicality of life. We don't get.
quality of
Yeah.
life. So, it's a great example. It's a couple people making the same amount of money, but life can be hard. People are going through things that we have no idea. It could be, somebody's, brother has a medical bill that
Oh,
they're
okay.
helping to support
Mm,
because, and obviously in the US, it can get very expensive and,
sure.
run, a couple months outside of any medical insurance and the wrong accident or
Yeah.
thing happened to you. And now, you're sitting there saddled with this bill, this debt that you're contributing your money to college, right?
Yeah.
That people are paying off.
Yeah.
They did that, $150,000 in debt, and they graduated and, $200,000 end up when they graduated. And so, it seems like they should have more money,
Yeah.
but they just literally don't because, they're getting that money, child support, getting, wages garnished because they, weren't contributing the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
There's so many pitfalls, but there's also so many ways around that. And that's why a lot of times, people don't realize how to, maybe they start a business on the side that makes a little bit of money. You take a loss for that first year. So you keep a bunch of your money that one year, then you take that money that you've kept and then you reinvest it into the
Shift
business.
cultivation.
Yeah, shift cultivation. And then that would have solved a lot of problems that that person faced, but they have no idea about that. And so they struggle. And so is it a spirit of it? Yes, because the spirit of it is the mind. The spirit of it is I can't. It's not for
I
me.
suck. I,
I suck.
yeah.
It's not possible.
I've always lost money. Every
I've
time.
always lost. Yes, those are all. That's the spirit of it.
So how do we break free from that?
Yeah,
And I'm talking to somebody watching right now. Somebody's out there struggling the same thing.
yeah.
It's a real we lifing here. How do you break free from that? Apart from we always pray, yes, but prayer
Yeah.
without application is just useless. So how does somebody who's a believer out there, they're struggling with this thing, struggling for a while, they've gotten to a point where they believe
Yeah.
they're cursed.
Yeah.
They believe they suck. They'll always lose money, period, no matter how much they work. So they don't even try.
Yeah.
How do you motivate somebody like that? If ever.
Yeah. No, a lot of it is environmental
Okay. Exposure.
exposure. If you're around people that will only allow you to see yourself that way, I've seen many times where people try to come up and change their lives and they're excited they want to do something different, only to have the people around them say, "Why are you going to do that? I don't know if
It
that's
never worked for me."
It never
Yeah.
worked for me.
So you
It doesn't
should
make sense.
Yeah.
So being able to change a little bit of your environment doesn't mean you stop completely cut people off and become
Yeah, sometimes you can.
a weirdo. But yeah, that's healthy. That's healthy.
I'm
in a lot of
extreme. I'm extreme. Okay. Sometimes you just have to.
sometimes you got to. But it's one of those things to where you really want to be able to uh, get support,
Okay.
get help. We're a communal species
Yeah.
quite often,
Yeah.
and we're able to see somebody else do something, get a positive word from someone else, being able to understand what it is. And so now again, YouTube University.
Yeah.
Get that inspiration, look step by step what people have done to change their circumstances.
Right.
There's a lot of mind work you can do. There's a lot of prayer meditation. There's a lot of course, kind of personal development.
Right.
That's super important.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also taking action.
I
And again, it's like you said, prayer, without application.
Yeah.
It's analyzation
Right.
without execution. Right? You could sit there and analyze stuff to the death. But if, maybe you can, get a coach, right? That's why I'm in business, right? People say, you know what? You've helped a ton of businesses
Right.
to achieve levels of success that they never thought possible or
Right.
to become solvent and profitable,
Okay.
right? And so from that perspective, what could I get from you that can help me kind of bridge that knowledge gap that I have?
Personally, yes.
Yeah, personally.
Hmm.
So, I think sometimes we all just want to, think that it's all within us. And I do this on a daily basis, on a regular basis. That's why I love talking to so many people because I learn, I gain
Absolutely.
so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's what happened when you made that decision.
Yeah.
Let me shoot and
That-
over here.
That's the funny thing because I've noticed that most successful people are, like you spoke about earlier, curiosity. You're constantly curious.
Yeah.
I've never come across somebody who's successful who's a know-it-all, and or they'll let you know,
Yeah.
you can't tell me anything because I know it all. I've done it. Most of them, I've sat down with millionaires and you're just having a dialogue and they're sitting there. I'm like, why are you listening to me right now?
Yep.
I am not a millionaire, but you are.
Yeah.
But as I'm speaking, you are paying attention to a point where like, I never thought of that. And this is the person admitting
Yeah.
that they never thought about what I'm saying. Take out a piece of a paper or something, a phone, and they take that note. They note down, man, I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna copy it. And the next thing you see them presenting or doing a workshop and they quote you.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, because of that. So it's like the wealthy keep on getting wealthier. And I'm talking about knowledge now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The wealthier in knowledge keep getting wealthier because they don't have that portal, that door closed and saying, I'm done learning.
Yeah. And they
They
take risks,
that
right?
part.
The fear of failure, there's something in an entrepreneurial mind that you have to put that to the side. I mean, I've
Fail forward.
yeah, fell for it. I have a buddy of mine, he's worth well over $100 million,
Wow.
our age. And, when we hang out and talk, over the years,
Yeah,
he's like, "Jabbar," he's like, "Jay, why aren't you wealthy to this level?"
that part.
Right? He's like,
Because
You're
you have
smarter than
all
me."
the
When we talk about, he's like, "You're smarter.
you have all the chips.
You have all
You
the
have all
shit."
the yeah,
But the reality is what he has, and what I'm constantly trying to learn from him and people like him,
yeah.
is that he has turned off that thing that says you have to just it's education, then you stick in this job, and then you analyze, don't make this mistake, don't fall here. He's like, man, he's ready to he's fallen flat so many times, and he's taken risks that were nuts and they've paid off.
Risk reward.
Yeah.
That's a gift, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Oh, that
That's
part,
another
the
gift.
spirit of
The spirit
making
of
wealth,
yes,
that's the gift, is
yes,
being able to take that risk. We were having a conversation
man.
about some up and coming tech company that I
Okay,
had some knowledge on,
okay.
and we're talking about it. And next thing you know, he's getting on his phone. I'm like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Like, he was just because he was like super leaned in. He's like, "Oh, I'm
Action.
talking to my my this investor agent that he works with," and he's like,
Mm,
"We want to take a massive position in this company off market, pre IPO, all this other stuff." And he bought this massive company. Now it's a blue chip company. He's made so much money off of it's crazy. And it was just off of me being in the tech space, knowing other VPs and
right,
it's like that are in my role. And that we talk about different things and just no insider trading or anything like
right, right,
that,
right.
to be clear, but just informational. But he valued my information enough, and he probably had enough research done on his own that he was like, "Well,
But
let's take this
again,
risk."
just like you said, action. Most of these folks have the gift of action, which a lot of people are because you're stuck in that paralysis by analysis. You're
Yeah,
still analyzing. You're still like, I'm not sure if. And somebody says, well, that makes sense,
yeah,
and then they just act on it,
yep.
and before you know it, boom. So that's very eye opening. So let's slow things down a little bit more. Let's slow things down a little bit more. What are your hobbies?
Yeah. I have a personal saying that goes, doing anything is better than watching. So, when it comes to watching, I'm a huge, sports fan in terms of Lakers, Dodgers, Rams. Love my LA sports teams. So, and right now, Rams are actually playing the Eagles.
Man, thank you for
So,
being here.
no, no, no.
Thank you.
Again, doing anything is better than watching either.
Right on,
Man,
right on.
it
So you're
leads
doing
right in.
I got you.
So, from that perspective, hobbies, I love being active. I love to I love to swim. I love to, kind of work out and stay fit. I enjoy, mountain biking, hooping, and just whatever I can to kind of be active. Music, though, is probably one of the most consistent things to do in my life, that I'm always doing. Big music, kind of musical family,
Right.
and so that's something that, singers and musicians and things like that. So that's something that has,
Music has so many principles too. So a lot of people like, they sleep on
yeah,
that thing.
big time.
But yeah, so the importance again of your hobbies that you put, like why is it important? And the reason why I'm asking is where on earth do you get the time
Yeah.
to stay away from the business, um, finance and coaching, and find time to go hiking? Because I'm looking at like that's time wasted when you can be like, buried in the business,
Yeah.
pushing forward. And isn't it all about like pushing forward and just fighting and just having a Mamba mentality, just
Yeah.
like pushing and pushing and pushing?
Yeah.
When you find time then to go swimming and go hiking and go to the Dodger games.
Yeah. Well, your health is the real wealth, and a lot of those things help me to stay healthy
Okay.
and well-rounded, which makes me be better at business, makes me, kind of show up better in my life in different areas. So to me, there's always a trade-off. It's not perfect. Last year, I did a hike with my friends, once a week,
Okay.
6:30 a.m. Saturday morning, we'd be at the base of the trail that we would hike. And, we would start at 6:30 a.m. Sometimes you have to carve out the time.
Yeah.
And that's, that's what you have to do. There's no way around it. Other times it's just a trade-off. So, I got into this unique sport called airsoft,
Okay.
where you're shooting these plastic BBs at each other in arenas, and
Wow.
it's strategy games and things like that. So you're running around, great exercise.
Right. Hey,
It's come.
put me on that next time.
Oh, don't be telling.
Call us up here.
Don't tell me what a good time, because I
Me and
a
I will be
rat
on
hole.
there. We'll be in there.
Oh, I love it. We
We're
love it.
competitive like that. Yeah.
Great father-son time. I'll tell you, at the same time, though, when I'm spending time with him doing airsoft for
Yeah.
hours on a day,
Yeah.
on a Sunday or something like that, well, it's trade-off. I don't not spend time not time I'm spending with my wife or my daughters.
Yeah.
So then I have to, be conscious of that, and to realize, okay, I got to get around to all the things that are important to me
That part.
at some point. Make the time.
So to me, what I hear is those hobbies are similar to rest.
Hmm. Hmm.
It may not be resting is not technically sitting in front of Netflix and watching a big screen TV and your favorite movie or your show. It's just letting go from the bustles and hustles of life and investing in that peace of mind, slowing things down, kind of like Sabbath, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most
It's kind of like
definitely.
Sabbath. And I don't know if you want to go into this, but we'll do surface level on this. I promise you, we're not going to go deep because I know it's hot. Speaking of Sabbath, uh, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk.
Mm.
Um, Apart from everything else, and a lot of people may not agree with him with some of the things that we did. And I'm not going to criticize anything because it's too late to criticize, in my opinion, from my upbringing and culture. But I just wanted to touch on, he spoke a lot. He was starting to speak a lot more about something that he discovered. And he says he discovered this thing called Sabbath.
Hmm.
And he was starting to talk on it, amongst other things that he talked about. And he started talking about Sabbath, and he's like, the Sabbath keepers, they this magical thing that we're all gifted with. Like it's available for everyone, but we're not taking advantage of it. It's called Sabbath. It's called rest. Look at the people in the blue zone.
Hmm.
Loma Linda, they live longer because of this thing called Sabbath. So it's like we can always find positives in everything that we do. So, um, apart from that, did you know or hear anything his teachings or his debates? And the reason why I'm asking
Yeah.
is because apart from the gloom of everything that transpires, he was opening a door for dialogue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One thing I can really give in everything that just happened was that he allowed, or he opened a portal for, let us debate this thing. Let's talk about these things. Now, I may not have agreed with most of the things that he was saying, but that was the point. He was saying, this is my standpoint. This is my point of view. What do you think? And I have a right to disagree. You have a right to disagree. Um, and what's your take on just opening that type of platform in this day and age? Why is it important to have different views?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to learn, you have to often talk to people with different experiences and people that think differently. If you are only talking to people that think have the same experiences, no
Mhm.
diversity of thought, how do you expect yourself to grow? But there's levels to this. So, with Charlie Kirk, it's an interesting thing for myself.
Okay.
I've never been a Democrat. I've never been a Republican.
Okay.
When I turned 18, I recognized in California at the time I could vote in both parties' primaries, and so I never saw the need. There were things about both parties that I thought made sense and aligned with me, and there
Oh,
were
okay.
things about both parties that
Okay.
I couldn't
So you're
stand.
more about results.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
And
it results in other things, but
okay.
it's so I've always I for me I look at what our ancestors have gone through to for us to be able to vote. So I never missed a chance to be active. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I have to say, oh, I'm the Republican or I'm a Democrat. So from that perspective, I uh, I followed Charlie Kirk pretty early on, so I kinda
Okay.
knew a lot of his journey a lot more than a lot of people.
I didn't. By
Yeah,
the way, I just learned of him
yeah,
after the tragedy, and then that's when I started binge watching
yeah.
prior things.
Yeah, and it's hard to it is hard to capture all of it by
Okay.
binge watching, because
Yeah.
there was just so many layered
Okay.
elements to it. And when he started Turning Point, And when I started kind of, looking at things around 2013, 14, I believe it was, it
Wow.
was super interesting. It provided a really important alternative view
Oh, okay.
that I think resonated really well. But then um, it started to become unfortunate,
Okay.
closer to when he started to align with then candidate Trump the first time around because they realized that getting involved with the cultural wars and made more views.
Oh,
And you can see that shift in that alignment.
okay. Algorithm.
The money started coming in, started flowing. The more that you disparage
Mm.
groups of people, the
Okay.
more nativist
Okay.
and leaning nativist to the spectrum of racist
Mhm.
conversations that you would have that could be seen that way, it got more attention
Okay.
and it emboldened the wrong people. So that's why I had to jump ship. The
Okay.
rhetoric became too inflammatory.
Mhm.
It became too divisive. And though I'm definitely for free speech, I think it's really important. It doesn't mean that as a black man that I have to embrace that or think that that's okay
Mm.
because it's just not.
I was gonna add on to it fed onto the algorithm, right, which is the age that we're in right now. Sometimes you can get lost in what what catches attention. So it goes back again to, feeding the algorithm and the masses again. What is gaining traction? What's louder? What's the loudest? Um, I'm really big on debate, and I think it should be, the case right now to where we should not have a one-sided view. Now, definitely did not deserve to pass for his speech, whether however you look at it, did not deserve that for sure. But at the same time, we can learn something from that in the sense that two people can come in with different ideas, different ideologies, and points of views and speak. I'm not sure if it's possible that some people come out with that mindset, one to learn, or it gets to a point in time where you just want to debate. Because that's sometimes they can get lost in that. Right?
Mm,
I want to debate and I want to win,
yeah.
as opposed to can we come together and I believe this, you believe that. Let's have a conversation and maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. But again, it's really a dark time right now because as a result, too, you see how everyone who speaks against or about now it's walking on eggshells because you speak about it, you don't know where it's going to end. 2025. Um, is there freedom after the speech? Because we say you say I have freedom of speech. We speak on that every day. I have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But is there the freedom after the speech in 2025?
Yeah, it's to me, Charlie Kirk's death, looking at it as I mean, it's obviously it's easy to say, "Oh wow, it's an attack on free speech." When you look at the murder, you look at the assassin, if you will, yeah, you don't know what was driving them. Yeah, they're getting some early takes on it. He said something about tired of his hatred
Mm,
and the things that he was spewing, and yeah, I mean, just I think that's just our current dogma. Violence is not the way we handle,
right.
any of this stuff. If that's the case, how many vile, filthy people are saying horrible things that are
True.
given a platform,
Hmm.
major platforms. But killing people, that's not the way. Liberals were canceling people, and then now it seems like conservatives are canceling people,
Right.
and we're in a stage where we see what happened with Jimmy Kimmel last
Yep.
week.
Yep.
Not even speaking directly to disparage Trump
Right.
in any way.
Right.
And with threats from the FCC,
Right.
ABC decides to
Imagine.
go ahead and cancel him indefinitely and telling him that he needs to give money and give an apology and things of that nature. But now we're seeing the backlash
Right.
from
Right.
that. People
Right.
are canceling Disney, Hulu, ESPN, ABC products, canceling weddings, vacations. So I'm actually I'm tracking the stock to see what happens tomorrow when I will open bell.
Good
It's
idea.
gonna be really
Very
interesting
good.
because I think Disney's gonna take a hit because now you have it's starting to unite. People are starting to see, well, it's not liberal and conservative, not left and right all the time. Sometimes it's have and have nots,
Mm,
right? It's the billionaire class, the wealth class versus everyone else,
Yeah.
because they're trying to, control a lot and use every narrative to push pin people against each other
Right.
when we have more in common in terms of our needs and expectations out of what we want in a successful and happy life. And those are the things that attracted me to Charlie Kirk in the early
In
days.
the early
He was
days,
a
yeah.
lot about that.
Right, right.
And it wasn't, this dangerous, horrible, vile, racist stuff saying that, our brains can't function the way a white person's can, and
That was extreme.
essentially saying things like that. It was extreme, talking about, Michelle Obama and, Justice Ketanji Jackson and people like that. Taking white people's slots in life and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Like, it's
They just
ridiculous.
went south.
Once out. But, in saying that, I think cooler heads will have to prevail. We have to look into the good in each other and recognize that, we have more in common. And it goes back
Right.
to the fundamentals, loving our neighbor as ourselves, especially in this time. It's critical that we do this.
Couldn't say it better. Couldn't say it better. Dial it a little bit down, a little bit more. Now I'm tying everything back together. Back into the business, back into the AI, back
Yeah.
into the culture, the future, politics. Do you have three to four, 5 books that you read or have read
Mhm.
that you would recommend, that will just change your mindset?
Yes. A book I'm kind of rereading, an interesting one
Yeah.
is The 10 Hollywood Commandments by Devon Franklin.
Oh, shout
Yeah.
out to the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't necessarily align with, it's not like it's very industry specific,
Mhm.
but the lessons are so applicable. And there's a lot of tangible things that he discusses. He talks a lot about his journey,
Okay.
through business, through his business life. It talks a lot about the things we talked about today
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of like your environment, how to go from nothing to that thing that you want to become. So that's a big one. 10 Hollywood Commandments.
Okay.
I would say Atomic Habits.
Okay.
Really, really big one. The Circle Maker.
Mm.
I believe that is that Mark Batterson? Anyways, yeah, The Circle Maker it's more on the spiritual
Mhm.
tip, but it's one of the most powerful books that I read. I actually went to for my MBA. I went to Azusa Pacific University, which is a Christian business school, and it was amazing to be able to learn all these business principles alongside
Beautiful.
spiritual principles,
Yeah.
and that's really impacted me.
Wow. You dropped 3. That was beautiful. That's enough to have us go through the whole week with that. Final question. Um, if you were to look back, I do this all the time with everyone in this podcast. If you look back to Jabari, 8 years old,
Mm.
what would you tell him?
Don't procrastinate. Marry the girl. Don't mess that up, which I did. Build the life you want,
Mm.
but don't fear.
Mm.
Fear less.
Mm.
Be fearless because it only has gotten in the way.
Right.
The greatest things in my life has been on the other side of fear. And if 8-year-old Jabari could understand that, he's going to do all right.
Gotcha. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure. We are out of here.
Hey,
Shop, shop.
appreciate it.